You know, the other big things that happened in 2006, it was a special year, it was also a year that I traveled with my Uncle Don full time. And to get to have the guy, my father figure, the guy that taught me how to fish, supported me from day one, to have him there at every event that year, all the way up to Angler of the Year, it was incredible. I can remember the last day of Table Rock, the third day, when the moment I knew that I had won the points that year. And before I even accepted my trophy, the moment I knew I had won points, I remember walking down to my boat where my uncle was waiting for me after I had weighed my fish. And I remember we both just looked at each other and we teared up. It's hard. I'm gonna tell you, it's hard to get me to cry. It's hard to get me to be emotional. I've cried 30 times in my life, but that was one of them. And we just looked at each other and we just welled up in tears. You know, starting with 2007, right? It's a new year, but the sport's about to change again. And in 2007, ESPN decided they were going to part ways with bass. You know, they decided they sort of had their fill of it. You know, I don't know the exact reasons. I think in their mind, they were trying to grow fishing and the BASS circuit to be something as big as NASCAR or golf. And I don't think it reached the potential in the period of time they wanted it to. You know, whatever the reason, they decided to let it go, and bass ownership was going to change hands again. You know, one of the exciting things was that one of the guys involved was Jerry McInnes.
Welcome to the Live Well. Tommy Sanders here. We got some big stuff to roll out today. Our special guest, here he is right here. Maybe you've heard of him, Jerry McInnes, and for all the things he does.
And Jerry was always sort of considered one of our own. You know, Jerry was a guy that's been in fishing forever, had some great TV shows, had a great production company, and, you know, was really important, in my opinion, to the growth of fishing, how people watched it. He was a key part of it. So to have him involved in this shift was a good thing. But, you know, I think looking back on it, over the course of the next few years, you know, we really lost some momentum as far as how the sport was growing. You know, with ESPN came big visibility, big coverage, new media outlets, and that was growing the sport. So when ESPN got rid of it, it's sort of that exposure of the sport started to go away, you know, and we could all actively feel it. But for me personally, I really saw the opportunities to reach people from a branding standpoint, especially people that didn't already fish. I saw that start to go away. And, you know, from when I look back on it from a standpoint of timing, it was bad that it was happening, but it was good that I had met Becky. You know, so as you get into 2008, Becky and I were married. We had built a house together. And the other thing Becky had brought to the table, besides being an unbelievable wife, was a business sense and a business mind. And around that same time, I think we really started to work together as a team, as a husband and wife business team, and say, how do we replace some of the things that are gone away, right? How do we keep reaching people that don't normally fish? How do we continue to build our brand? How do How do we get exposure in new ways? And having Becky there was key because she put fresh eyes on it. She's really smart from a business standpoint, and that was important.
You know, if you think fishing's luck, you're wrong. Fishing's an art. If you want to master your art, think outside the box and fish on the edge. Ah! Oh my God!
Fishing on the Edge is presented by Castrol Edge. Think with your dipstick. Nothing offers better wear protection.
So, you know, when I look back on that time frame, 2007, 2008, 9, 10, that whole time period, as things started to go away a little from the tournament exposure, we started to pick them up in other realms. Some of the TV shows, you know, we decided to do a TV show called City Limits Fishing.
The city of brotherly love is home to Ben Franklin, the founding of America, an underdog fighter who made these stairs famous, and me. This is where I was born. This is my hometown. I grew up here. I learned how to fish here. When you think of Philadelphia, what do you think about?
You think cheesesteaks. And when you think cheesesteaks, you gotta think Geno's.
The city's also known for great fishing.
Fishing? Fishing in Philadelphia? Oh no.
Well, maybe not, but it should be. I really wanted to come here to expose what an amazing fishery we have here. People find out that I'm from New Jersey, right outside of Philadelphia, and they say, you know, what the heck, what kind of fishing's around there? How'd you learn how to fish? And I gotta tell you that the Delaware River, it's one of the best fisheries you can imagine.
Which was at the time airing on a network called Versus, later NBC Sports. And you know, we realized that we can do things. We could personally do things outside of the tournament organization to help continue to grow our brand and grow the sport. A few years later, we decided to start a thing called the Ike Live, which was a podcast. We didn't even know what a podcast was.
Hey folks, Mike Iaconelli here. Want to talk to you real quick about Ike Live. It's a brand new live web show that we do once a month. Really cool deal for me because it's off the cuff, it's fun, and we get to talk about a lot of stuff. You know, we've got some great guests on the show, people inside the fishing industry, friends, pro athletes, and everything in between. If you like to talk fishing, if you want to sit in for a couple hours of fun and be part of the show, check out Ike Live. Go to my website, it's MikeIaconelli.com. Click on the Ike Live tab. You can check out past shows and download them. And of course, you can find the schedule for the next live Ike Live episode. Mike Iaconelli telling you, if you want to have fun, check it out, Ike Live.
We decided to start that. You know, about the same time, you got to remember social media and digital content back then, it was pretty new, you know, 2008, 2009, and 10. But instead of being scared of it, you know, we grabbed it and we accepted it. And how do we grow our brand? How do we grow fishing through this new thing called social media? I remember being scared and intimidated because I didn't know it either. But I remember fishermen despising it, saying, no, social media, what a waste of time. That's for them young kids. What a waste of time. And you know, our mindset was, man, let's just keep going. Let's grab a hold of these new things. How do we keep growing the business, the brands? How do we grow fishing? Man, we were very focused on it during that 10-year span. So, you know, looking back on that time frame, if you want to call it 2007 to 2013, you know, although there was a decline in some stuff on the tournament side, you know, it was a time when we really said, we got to take control of our own destiny, right? You know, on the tournament side, ESPN didn't own it. The media exposure wasn't there. The views didn't feel like they were there. Even the money started gone down a little bit. But, you know, with Becky's help, we just said, man, let's take control of this. Let's do it ourselves. Let's do these same exact things ourselves. You know, for sure, City Limits Fishing TV show that we decided to do was one of those things. And, you know, it was a project I was involved in that really showed me the power of reaching those non-hardcore tournament heads, right? And, you know, I remember doing these shows, and the format was great because the format was we'd go to bodies of water located within the city limits, and we'd try to catch a limit of fish in a limited amount of time.
We have a champion!
I'm professional angler Mike Iaconelli, and I'm going to places not known for great fishing. Big cities. I fish under trains, inside drainage ditches, near refineries, and airports. Locals don't even think I'll catch anything.
Honey, I didn't even know there was bass fishing in Central Park.
But I know there's great fishing in cities across the country, including this one.
Fish number 3.
This is City Limits Fishing, Philadelphia.
This fish is kicking my butt. That is awesome.
We sent a champion angler to some great cities on a mission.
Philadelphia! That's Washington, D.C. A stone's throw away. Chicago River, within the city limits, and that's my limit!
This is City Limits Fishing.
Man, I felt at home, right? Because every place we went felt like Philly. It felt like Philadelphia to me. So I liked urban fisheries. I got to meet great people. The pressure of these limited time, you know, it all felt right. And it was a really fun show to film. But what we noticed was that we were reaching people we couldn't reach any other way. And, you know, it really got our mind flowing that, you know, we didn't have to rely on somebody to do that. We could do it ourselves. It was a great project. And I think the success of that really kept our juices flowing. And it almost started a business for us that revolved around how many different ways can we reach people? And, you know, with Becky's help around that same time, we started a lot of businesses, and each one, you know, had a purpose to build a brand, but build fishing. You know, we started Bass University, and the Bass University was all about education and teaching people. We started the Ike Live podcast. A good friend of ours, Mark Jeffries, who had a podcast at the time, sort of talked us into doing this thing called podcasting, live podcasting. And, you know, we just said yes to it. We tried it, and we were able to reach people new ways there. We also started the Ike Foundation, and man, I look back on that, and you know, this charity arm, how do we grow fishing from the bottom up? And you know, growing it from the bottom up means to start with kids. So I remember Becky and I in the same time frame talking, and we said, yeah, we want to do a charity. We want to do something, a foundation that does good. And it was like instant that we have to get kids fishing that don't normally go fishing, right? Like it was easy for me to look back at my childhood growing up in Jersey and Philly and saying, man, if I didn't have my family there, I would have been screwed. So it was real easy to put together that premise and the foundation. And we just kept going, you know. We kept going with professional edge fishing as a business to help other anglers. We started developing that. And you know, it was a great time when I think the thought that an angler could control his own destiny, right? You didn't have to rely on a third party to control your destiny. And it was an exciting time. You know, when I look back on it, some of the stuff we were doing for the first time. And it had never been done in the fishing industry. It had never been done in that spectrum of life. And it felt really good because we were breaking boundaries. We were crossing lines that have never been crossed before. And the bottom line is we were growing our brand. We were growing our business to new places it's never been. The non-endemic sponsors really started taking notice. And, you know, when you can show that you're reaching a lot of people and you're reaching a lot of new people that they don't normally reach, then you get value. And, you know, a lot of these opportunities from companies that were never in fishing started to come around. A lot of opportunities to do signature products, you know, product development pieces. You know, we had a really good friend named James Riley that came in to help us with this rebranding. And we actually, I want to say it was in the, it was probably right around 2009 or 10, we did a rebrand of the Ike logo. And James took this old Ike logo that was sort of more youthful and street in feel to a logo that felt more like who I was at the time. Passion, energy, excitement. And James created this logo that embodied the shark, this subliminal shark. And that logo and that brand took off. And as all that was happening, you know, it was just an exciting time for us, an exciting time for the sport. You know, we were taking fishing to places it had not been. And, you know, it felt nice when you would see emails or get letters or meet people and they would say, man, I started watching fishing because of City Limits Fishing. Man, I got my kid involved because of the Ike Foundation. Oh, I learned so much because of that video on Bass University. Oh, we love your social media. You know, these were people that we weren't reaching through the tournaments that we were now reaching, and it all felt so good. I would say, you know, that was a fun time, an exciting time, but in the background, it was still really important to me to keep competing and be competitive. And man, at the end of the day, I want to win. I remember like it was yesterday, it was the fall of 2013, and I got a call from Jerry McInnes and the tournament director at Bass. And they said, we're working on our 2014 schedule. We're going to announce it here in the next couple months. What do you know about the Delaware River? And I was like, you mean the tidal Delaware River? And, you know, when I got that call, I was thrown off because in a million years, I never ever imagined a major tournament coming to the Delaware River. Never imagined it in a million years.
It says that George Washington crossed the Delaware River in 1776, but he didn't do any bass fishing.
We don't know that.
We don't know that for sure.
Shadfish, we know, you know, they did the shad work. Yeah.
And that's where we're going for that seventh event.
Delaware River.
To Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, all right.
So help me, the launch area and the expo area is very close to where the Phillies play and where the Eagles play. Man. And not right there at it, but fairly close. And you know what? They always say, well, you can't have bass tournaments in big cities because people won't show up. They're going to show up, Tommy.
It's going to be.
Yeah, it's going to be.
We haven't been to a place ever. People tend to show up.
Right.
This is going to be.
And I'm telling you, the folks in Philadelphia are all excited about this. And right across the street, right across the river is New Jersey. That little kid Iaconelli lives over there.
Oh, yeah.
And so he's going to bring a bunch of fans.
If we get 10,000 people
when they came out with the 2014 schedule, this is at the end of 2013, and I looked at it and it said Delaware River on that tournament schedule, I knew that in 2014, this would be a once-in-a-lifetime chance for me to win at home.
Heard you had a bad day, it ain't going your way, yeah, never give up. Heard my life was a movie, I got people trying to use me, I will never give up. It's not about where you at, it's about where you headed. And all the things they say about you only heard if you let it. I gotta put on for the kids, cause they getting the message. I'm on my knees, thanking God, look at all of my blessings. Look at little old me, doing real big things from a real small town. I'ma make them all proud. And these kids need a leader, I'ma show them all how. Anybody in my way, then we gon' mow them all down. Hey, from the Garden State, I got some deep roots. Fisherman drip with some new boots. I almost didn't make it, that's the real truth. They call me the general, I got real juice. Pull up in a Bascat doing donuts. When I'm at the classic, the people go nuts. Heard you had a bad day, it ain't going your way, yeah, never give up. Heard my life was a movie, I got people trying to use me, I will never give up.
You know, when the 2014 season rolled around, I'm going to be honest, it was hard to focus on any other tournament except for the one coming to Philadelphia. You know, it was one of those things, like, it was the tournament that was meant to be in my life. And all I could think about was, it's never going to happen again. I have to figure out a way to win this one.
Who says you can't put together the best bass anglers in the universe with the 5th largest city in America? That cheesesteaks and Independence Hall can't go down perfectly with bass boats and gritty competition? Ah! That folks who love the Eagles, the Flyers, and the Phillies aren't ready to raise the roof for their favorite fishermen? So let's ring the Liberty Bell, cross the Delaware multiple times, in search of a winner at the first ever Bassmaster Elite Series in Philadelphia.
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check is I'm chess, what's happening next, yeah.
He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take a redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression,
You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move feet, hurt it easy. You don't wanna be fast asleep when they scheming. Better stand tall, ready for a fight, believe me. When they try the chains, you can say no, free me.
So he's been looking for somebody who could save him, instead of searching inside for what they gave him. A strong will, strong mind causes mayhem. We could change the world.